Hi, I'm Sophia Haver-Brock, and welcome to A Year in Quarantine. Today, I'm joined by founder of No Limits Cafe, Stephanie Cartier. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So before COVID began, your business was fairly new, right?
Correct. Yes. We had just opened in February of 2020.
Oh, wow. So, how was business going before the pandemic hit?
So before the pandemic, it was going amazing. We're only open for lunch and we were serving 90 people a day, which was amazing. So it was going really well and our employees were doing well. And we understand that we were doing so well because people were coming for the mission, which is we employ adults with intellectual disabilities. And people to go to a new restaurant because they're curious and stuff. So we knew, that helped us as well.
Hmm. And when the pandemic hit, how did business change?
So the week before we had to shut down, we saw a slow decline every day of business. And we're like, what is happening? Is this really coming? And so then when we finally had to shut down, um, obviously we had no business. And, you were allowed to remain open for takeout, but we were a new business and we were not known for our food yet. People were just coming, like I said before, for the mission or because we were a new restaurant. We didn't even have takeout um, equipment because that was not something, we were just starting. That was not something, I think we had done one takeout meal since we had opened. So we had to really pivot and revisit everything we did, and all while keeping we had 34 employees with intellectual disabilities, keeping them engaged. So during the pandemic, we were closed for 2.5 months, and we would do drive-bys, myself and our manager, Alexandra Shortino, another Middletown resident, drive-bys to all of our employees' houses. We would make signs. We have one of our desserts here that everybody loves is a chocolate bread pudding. So we would make it and we would bring it to their homes. We would beep outside and we'd if it was your birthday, we get a whole group of volunteers and stuff and do drive-bys. And what else we did was every day at No Limits Cafe, we start with a dance party to everybody. We start every day with a dance party, and so everybody gets all their stress out. It's a way for camaraderie and to be together. So we had weekly dance parties via Zoom every Friday, and we would let the employees submit their playlist, and almost all of them came. It was great. It was supposed to be for like a half hour, ended up being like 2 hours. So you also got a really good workout, and it was a lot of fun. So we had to really pivot during that time. And then while we were doing that, figure out what we're going to do going forward.
Hmm. So how do you think those things affected your employees?
So I think that our employees that have intellectual disabilities, I think it was very hard for them because this is something they did every day. They don't have, many of them, maybe some of them do, but many of them don't have like the friend structure where they can call a friend and talk on the phone. They don't have those connections to the outside world. Their connection was at work or in their day programs or in school, whatever they did. That's where they got a lot of meaning. But I guess that's the same for all of us. So,
Hmm. So, I also saw that you won an award back in December, right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
sure. So, um, Marcus Lemonis, the prophet, gave us $30,000 through his Lemonade Foundation, which is a program to keep your employees employed, yet you help feed your local people that are dealing with food insecurity. And we were on the Tamron Hall show, and it was a big surprise that he gave this to us. So it was really amazing because we feed 300 people a week, and every day except for Sunday, and we get it all done in the morning before we open at 11. And a lot of the people that we feed are Middletown senior citizens that qualify for Meals on Wheels, but Meals on Wheels wasn't taking any new clients. So we were, in essence, their Meals on Wheels. And we love being able to serve our local community, and it gives our employees, who are usually on the receiving end of the giving, a chance to give back, which is really beautiful. And I think many of them have really embraced that. So that was great. And then when the money ended, we started our own Hope for Hunger program, and we were able to raise money to keep going, because we felt badly telling all these 300 people, like, sorry, we can't feed you. So we raised our own money, and it's keeping our employees employed again and continuing to feed those dealing with food insecurity.
Wow. And were there any other programs or any other things that you've started this year that you can talk about?
Sure. So because of coronavirus, we really had to pivot. Like I said, people were coming here for the mission. And then when we finally could open, it was for outdoor dining. We are on Highway 35, and we thought nobody would ever sit outside. We had 3 tables, because we're like, and it was really just for decoration. And now that was all you could sit at. So we had to really change how we did business to get people in here, because a lot of people to this day are still do not want to eat out. And it was even worse last summer. So we had to really pivot with doing outdoor dining, and like I said before, takeout. So what we decided to do was to change our menu to find something that wasn't in this area that we knew that people might want. So we started a whole build your own grilled cheese menu in addition to our standard menu. And that helped us immensely. So getting customers in the door. And another thing that really helped us, we use volunteers here. We use 5 volunteers every day to help our employees. And one of our volunteers has a daughter in high school, and she said, my daughter is looking for hot chocolate bombs. Did you ever see them? And we're like, no, we don't even know what they are. She said, I'm going to make one at home, bring it in, and let's see what you think. So she did, and we're like, this is great. So this volunteer donated all of the chocolate and the marshmallows and the molds to make it. And our employees made hot chocolate bombs from Thanksgiving to, through Christmas. And we sold, I don't know, 6,000 plus hot chocolate bombs. So that's something that really helped us. And then we were able to go forward. We made Valentine's Day hot chocolate bombs. We made St. Patrick's Day hot chocolate bombs. Now they're done, because it's, who wants a hot chocolate bomb now? We all want summer. And so that's something else that really helped us. And it also gave our employees new skills. And we have a lot of employees that would like to learn how to bake and do treats. So this was something that they could really help us with. And we had special shifts just for hot chocolate bomb making, because we were so inundated. And we had to people wrapping. It was a lot of fun. And again, that we brought in so many more people that were looking for hot chocolate bombs, because that was a hot item. And so we were able to get a lot of other customers that way. But one thing I do want to say, which is really hard, is when we were closed for all that time, when our employees came back, they had to be retrained. And that part it wasn't like it was. So we weren't as busy, we were slower. And that was very hard for everybody, because we were retraining, but what were we going to get? Who was going to come in the door? We didn't know. And some days it's really good, and some days it's really bad. We can't figure it out.
What was the training process like?
So before COVID, or?
Just in general.
So how we train here is, it was nothing like we thought we were going to do when we started this, but how we train is we figure out where people are kind of like at. Let's just talk about the people that work in the kitchen. Some people, for example, everybody here gets a knife and has to learn how to properly cut with a knife. Some people need hand over hand, like someone standing behind them, holding them, and they need apparatus. We have cutting gloves so you can't get hurt, shields, all different sorts of things. And then some people were masters at cutting. So the training program was really, we don't have a specific program per se, but the training is different for every employee, because every employee has value, but they're all at different places in their training. We're not one size fits all by any stretch. So, and same thing with the people in the front that take your orders, the servers and everything. They've had to learn a lot about hospitality and customer service. The hardest thing being the customer is always right. And so there's working in a restaurant, you learn a lot of skills in the restaurant, but you learn a lot of outside skills too that will enable our employees to get other jobs, like such as time management, being able to listen to a boss, working together with other people, the whole social component of working with your fellow employees, and so many other things that will help you in all walks of life. So we try to look at it as a holistic training program, which is different for every employee.
And for the summer, do you have any like ideas for like a hot chocolate bomb, but for the summer? Like,
We do, but I don't know if I could tell. I will tell you. So for the summer, we're going to do s'mores on a stick, which are s'more marshmallows dipped in chocolate, rolled in graham cracker crust. So that's going to be our summer. We're going to try our summer treat.
oh wow, wow, that's such a good idea. And
Yeah.
is this the first time that you're like revealing that, or
Yes, it is.
oh my gosh,
You got the
you heard
inside
it here.
scoop.
So, hold on, let me just. So, how did your like personally? How did your daily routine like change in the beginning of quarantine?
So from coming here 7 days a week, being here all day, every day, um, I was at home in my sweats. I watched everything on Netflix. What I did come here every day just to make sure that, the refrigerator was working and, that everything was, as it should be. And, but I would come here and some days, and I live in Lincroft and this is in Middletown. It's a 15-minute drive for me. I would pass nobody on the way here and on the way home. It was so eerie. And, but we did do work at home. We did, like I said, we did what we could to engage our employees and writing them all letters too and whatnot, which took time. But with our management staff, we all would get together and think, okay, what could we do next? How are we going to pivot? Because we all thought we were going to be home for 2 weeks in the beginning. We're like, okay, it's a 2-week break. But then as it went on and on, you're like, we've lived it. so, so it definitely changed.
Do you have any specific stories from like when you I don't know, do you have any specific stories from doing the Zoom dance parties or when you opened up again that you can share?
So one thing that I can share is that when we were closed, it was so sad that the employees would reach out to us and say, when can we come back? When can I have my job back? When are we going to go back to work? When can we open? And that was really hard because we all had the same questions. But you could see in their, like, this meant something to them, something big. For most of them, it was the first time they've ever had a job. And then for it to be gone in such a short time of working it, because it's a lot of fun to work here too. So, and it gives them meaningful employment and a sense of purpose and a feeling of pride and ownership, getting your paycheck. And that was gone. So that, I have to say that, I think that's something that stuck out the most is that, everybody wanting to come back and asking us and we didn't have the answer. We had the same question. And then another thing I think was when I said it was really hard when we did come back to retrain all of our employees, I have to say, as hard as it was, our employees really rose to the occasion and they were amazing. They were so amazing. Like I would be outside with my mask, like taking breaths. All these employees, 34 of them, didn't have a problem with their masks or anything. They had no, and then we went to wearing gloves all the time for everything. You have to wear a glove here. Even if you go to get your own soda, from our family, you have to wear a glove because we're really COVID cautious. And they had no problems doing any of it. They're amazing. And they still are.
Wow. Um, so what have you learned over this past year?
So I've learned a few things. And one of the biggest things I've learned is that Many people, myself included, have what's called soft bigotry of low expectations, in that we think that people with intellectual disabilities cannot do something because A, they've never been given the chance to because we would do it for them, or they have learned helplessness because everybody does things for them. And it's much faster and quicker for me to do it and or you to do it. So I've learned that I had soft bigotry of low expectations, and that our employees, I can never underestimate them. I just have to give them a chance because time and time again, they've proven me wrong. They can do what I thought would either be hard for them or uh, impossible for them. And they really have shined. And so I've learned that about myself. And it's also made me, I think, a better manager with our customers and our volunteers, because now I think I can really understand where they're coming from. See, I mean, because I have a daughter with Down syndrome, and I'm sure I always had soft bigotry of low expectations, but I didn't realize it till I saw myself on a bigger scale with having this restaurant. So I think that was the main thing, that people need a chance. And if we let them have that chance, they will rise to the occasion. And I think that's probably the biggest thing I learned. And the other thing I learned is really honestly how to budget better for our like for example, like for our food bill and stuff, because now we, like I said in the beginning, we were serving 90 people a day. Some days we would serve nobody, but we still have to order the food like we're serving a lot of people a day. So I've had to really pivot and figure out, okay, what are we going to do about this? Like, instead of ordering this, we'll have to go pick it up if we need it, because why pay for it if we don't use it? And so many things like that to make sure that we stayed within budget, because we are a nonprofit and we do owe it to all of our donors to be very savvy with the money. And this time with COVID was so hard because we didn't know what was going to happen. And we did make a lot of mistakes. Like when we first started takeout, we ordered all the wrong size things. We're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do with it? And I mean, we were able to sell it because you can't return a lot of this stuff. And so we really, that's been another big thing I've learned, maybe how to be a better business person.
And right now, like currently, how does your business run right now? Can you give me like a day in the life kind of?
Sure. So most of our employees come in at 9 or 10, and we all get started making every morning. We have our Hope for Hunger program, and we feed um, people with food insecurity. Today we fed 90 Middletown senior citizens. So we get all that done by 11. Then at 11 o'clock we go and we have a dance party, and we open at 11. So sometimes customers join us with the dance party if they come in or not. And then we have 3 or 4 people in the front of the house, the servers and the hosts and food runners. And then in the back of the house, we have about 6 or 7 employees. Some work the line and some are in prep. And so everybody, the people in prep with our chef Callie, he has a board with everything that needs to be made, and we have a recipe book. And together, if they need volunteer help, a volunteer will help them make whatever is needed. If they don't, they'll make it. And then the people on the line will make the orders as they come in. Like if you order a sandwich or a bowl or a grilled cheese, they'll make that with the help of our chef Joan. And then the people in the front, they will seat and serve all of the customers with our help from our manager Alexandra. So, and then we close at 3. So we like to be busy. Some days we are, some days we're not. We can't figure it out. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not weather dependent. It's not school dependent. We can't figure it out. And then at 3 o'clock, we clean up, and everybody has the chef will tell everybody in the back, all right, today you're doing this, you're doing that. In the front, they'll do whatever. Oh, and I forgot to mention the most important people, the dishwashers, because that is the hardest job here. And because it's the busiest job here, because even if you don't have a lot of people, you still got to wash all the dishes from the people that are prepping and making like the tuna fish and the buffalo chicken salad and dicing and slicing. You got to wash all that stuff. So by the end of the day, when everyone's done, everybody always jumps in dishwashing to help dry. And then we go home between 4 and 4:30, and we're open 7 days a week. So that's it. It's a fun day, and it goes by really quickly.
And what are you looking forward to after, like, what are your goals for after the pandemic is over?
So we did have a really big goal before we even opened, and it was called our phase 2. And what it was we were we're only open for lunch 11 to 3. So in the evening, we were going to have a training program for other adults with intellectual disabilities that do not currently work here. And we had somebody go out, a community liaison volunteer, go out to all these other restaurants and say, you know, this is what we're doing at No Limits Cafe. Will you hire somebody we train when you're looking for somebody? And a lot of restaurateurs said yes. Some people had 8 restaurants, some people had 5 restaurants. So we were really pumped and excited because we're like, okay, because at least the unemployment rate, like I said, is 80% for people with intellectual disabilities. If we've employed 34 here, now we're up to 37. We can at least change the unemployment rate locally by getting other people that don't work here hired. My husband likes to call it the multiplier effect. But COVID really shut that down because many of those restaurants, have closed restaurants, some of their restaurants, and have laid off so many employees. So I think there'll be a long wait. You know, they'll probably rehire back their previous employees if they're still looking for a job before they're going to take on new people. And plus, everybody's budgets are so tight now because of COVID. And so we said, okay, that was supposed to start in September. And then we said, okay, well, push it to January. Obviously, we're still in COVID. So now it's off the table indefinitely until we figure out what we're going to do. And until COVID is over. So, and we can get other restaurateurs to hire our employees or to commit to hiring people and that we train. So that really is our next phase. And one day we'd love to do food truck. That's another thing we would really love to do. And we really want to continue our Hope for Hunger program because we know COVID or not, people still need food on their table and they need help with that. So those are our I guess short and long-term goals right there.
That's all my questions. So is there anything else you would like to add? Or
No, come to No Limits Cafe for lunch. We're open 11 to 3. And if you're 18 or over, we'd love to have you volunteer. And, excuse me. And it really is a great place, and continue to support us. And you can go to our website, nolimitscafe.org, to find out more information. We have free delivery, and you can order online. We do takeout, outdoor dining, indoor dining. Come, you won't be sorry.